Hey, everybody, it is I, Hope Giselle, and I am here with none other than Representative Raskin. How are you, my love?
Excellent. I'm delighted to be with you.
Look, you are here with me and the Root, and we just want to know because you are one of those people that is pushing some serious legislation right now, specifically your anti-Trump slush fund. And I think that we're having a lot of buzzword conversations around that, but could
Yeah.
you tell us and really walk us through what you're doing there?
Yeah. Well, look, this thing is already totally unconstitutional and illegal.
Absolutely.
For one thing, Congress appropriates money, not the president. Where does he have the power to just say, I'm going to give $1.8 billion away to Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, insurrectionists, convicted criminals,
Yes.
right? And they're not a court. They're going to decide the cases. Like, that's weird. They're trying to create their own system of government. So the legislation shuts down this anti-weaponization fund
Absolutely.
and then also says we're going to block any other attempt to take federal dollars, either through the judgment fund or any other government fund, for these purposes. You can't put money in the pocket of the president to distribute to his little private militia of
Absolutely.
his stand back, stand by political foot soldiers.
I love that you named that dog whistle that we heard so many years ago, but still rings true today. There's so many other things that we could discuss, but I also want to make sure that the people understand that you also have a kind heart about the way that you want to make sure that the next set of people coming behind you are empowered. So let's talk a little bit about Democracy Summer.
Yeah.
That's coming up in a couple of weeks. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I've been doing this since I was in the state senate. I was looking for a way to get my three kids and all the nieces and nephews involved in my campaign. And my niece Maggie said, "Well, what am I going to put on my resume that I worked for my uncle's losing state senate campaign?" And I said, "Maggie, first of all, we're not going to lose. Secondly, it's not just my campaign you're working for. You're with Democracy Summer." And she said,
Exactly.
"What's that?" And then I had to make it up. And so I said, "We're going to bring the best historians, the best campaign managers, the best elected officials to come and talk to you about the history of the struggle for democracy and freedom in America, and then what the fight is today." And now we had 1,000 people last summer across the country, all 50 states, or maybe it was 48 states. And this summer, we're going to try to get 2,500 young people. These are high school kids, college kids. In the mornings, we're on Zoom with Heather Cox Richardson,
Yes.
with Tim Snyder, with Benny Thompson, my co-chair Maxwell Frost, just the great political activists and leaders of our time, and historians and political critics. And then we're talking about the struggle for democracy and redistricting and gerrymandering, the right to vote, the struggle against voter suppression. But then they spend the rest of their days out knocking on doors, canvassing, registering voters. So it's like theory and practice together.
I
You
love
know,
that, especially
so
because we have so many folks that are a part of those age ranges that are ready to get activated, but most of the time they have no idea where to start. And so that feels really good to know that people like you are out there leading that charge.
big time. Well, we had 2,800 people sign up for the deadline, but now the demand is increasing. So we're trying to let more people come in and to build up our capacity to do
When
it.
we talk about building capacity, I also want to ask you, we are looking at a very interesting midterm. And it could really change the way that I think that Democrats wield power.
Yes.
In the event that the Democrats get those powers, those keys, whatever you want to call those things, once we get that back, once we get it back,
When we get it back.
when we get it back, what do you think the first move that the Democrats should be making around that?
So it's a very complicated question because the agenda is so overwhelming.
Yes.
Right now, one kind of constant theme that has run through this whole period is we are fighting for health care for every American citizen. We're the richest society that's ever existed at our richest moment, and yet we've got such unbelievable inequality and injustice in the economy
Absolutely.
that we've not made that happen. And we've got to make that happen. But at the same time, there's incredible corruption. It's not like the Trump administration has a problem with corruption. The Trump administration is corruption. The whole thing is a ripoff of the taxpayers. It's plunder. So we've got to shut this stuff down right now.
Absolutely.
This has happened like the nearly $1.8 billion political slush fund they want to set up. We've got to shut that down. We've got to get our money back from all of these scams. We've got to stop the flow of foreign government money from kings and princes into the Trump administration. So, I'm a washed up football quarterback, and I recognize you need to play offense and defense together. They go together. So we got to defend against the corruption. We've got to move forward on things like healthcare, like
Absolutely.
prescription drugs, like voting rights, like statehood for Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. We got to be moving forward at the same time. We're defending against the authoritarianism and the corruption.
Locally, could you expand on how you plan on going about doing some of those things for your constituents?
Well, um, when Biden was president, there was a moment where we actually were able to get stuff passed. So we passed a $1.2 trillion
Remember?
infrastructure
Yeah.
investment plan for rail and trail and for all kinds of infrastructure spending. And we've got to get back to that, to
Indeed.
invest in the ailing infrastructure. We made a lot of stuff happen. A lot of the Republicans are now claiming credit for it all over the country, but that was money that was set up by Democrats. But look, we have a huge problem with corporate mergers and conglomerations. We need to revive the antitrust laws because that's another reason everything is so expensive.
Yes.
We need to reinstill real competition in the housing market.
Yes.
We need to build more housing for people. We need to create opportunity, real channels of opportunity for young people in the country. So we have a huge overflowing agenda. We need more people involved to make all of this stuff happen and to block all of the voter disenfranchisement and voter suppression schemes that Republicans are putting in place. Now, in the Calais decision, they set it up so they could dismantle majority black congressional districts
Indeed.
throughout the South. That means we got to fight back at the level of redistricting wherever we can. We need to increase people's turnout. And we're continue to be in the political fight of our lives. These people think that the kind of authoritarianism that we've seen under Donald Trump in his first administration and now in his second can continue.
Yeah.
And they can continue to lord over the rest of the American people a regime of impunity
Yeah.
and absolute corruption. And we need to kick out everybody who's ripping off the American people.
I was hoping that you would say something to that effect, and you never cease to amaze me with your pulse on reality about what we can do, what's going to take a little bit of time, and then also what the steps are to get there. I also would be remiss, it is Pride Month, right? And you serve a very diverse group of people. And so for those people in your constituency that happen to be a part of the queer and LGBT community,
Yes.
what message do you have for them?
Well, yes, I'm hustling back to Maryland right after the Netroots Nation conference. We have a number of Pride Day marches and rallies that I'm going to be going to.
I love that for you.
In Rockville and Silver Spring and Tacoma Park. Look, the fight for LGBTQ rights is an essential fight for human rights. When you look around the world at the authoritarians and the dictators, Putin in Russia, Orban in Hungary, wherever they exist, they are all attacking gay rights because the struggle for gay rights is a struggle for freedom.
Yes.
That's what democracy is meant to serve.
Indeed.
Like Abe Lincoln said that democracy is the silver platter upon which rests the golden apple of freedom. The reason we have democracy is to protect our freedom.
Exactly.
And even it's not a guarantee even having it. Like we've got democracy now to a certain extent, but look at the freedom of women in all the southern states that's been taken away with abortion rights. But democracy at least gives you the chance to fight for it. But if you've got a dictator in, whether it's Putin or Orban or Xi or Trump for that matter, a dictator gives us no chance for freedom because it's all about whatever their will is. So anyway, that's all to say the struggle for LGBTQ rights is the struggle for human rights and vice versa. And I am glad that the Democratic Party is a party that has stood up time and again for the rights of people in the gay community.
Thank you so much. Well, you all heard it here first from the horse's mouth, so you have to go looking for it anywhere else. And for more exclusives, make sure you head over to theroot.com, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Hope.
Thank you so much.